Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube. If you have not been on YouTube in a while, you should open that up and search for Talk Law Radio and look for the Lady Justice logo with red, white, and blue colors and subscribe. That way you can get notified whenever we have new episodes about the law, laws that might impact you, laws that might help you get an advantage in life. So follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, and I even have Instagram, but that's under my name, Todd A. Marquardt. So we've been talking about real estate, and we talked about the lawsuit against National Association of Realtors. We talked about the settlement and the realtor for the buyer and the fees and the commissions and the value that a realtor brings to the buyer. We talked about statistics, about what's going on in the market right now and the fact that it's a buyer's market.
It is a buyer's market, yes.
And so if you're a buyer, then you want to get a good deal, contact Kasey Chenault.
Yes.
Go to her website at KaseyLaneHomeGroup.com. Or if you're a seller and you want to get out of the city and maybe move to the country,
that would
you can help with that too.
Absolutely. I'll move with you.
I had a friend from church who lived in Helotes, and he said, Todd, I moved to Helotes to get out of the city.
I know, and then it engulfed it.
Right, now the city came to me, and he was complaining about the traffic.
Yes.
Before we start talking about legacy, I wanted to ask you about, there's this theory, this myth, I don't know what the truth is, but some people think that BlackRock, the investment company, is buying all the real estate, and there's none left, and they're trying to trap people into renting. What is your take on that?
So there are a lot of investment firms that do come in and buy out these houses. And you saw a big majority of that during that COVID boom, during that seller's market, where they were selling their houses for within hours for $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 more than what it appraised for. But the thing is there's a lot of homes. There's a lot of homes, and they are not buying up every single one of these homes. And, you have to think of it in a way, the biggest and fastest way to wealth is through real estate. And so, good for them for doing that. However, for you as a buyer, that doesn't mean they're buying up everything. There are homes, abundance of homes that are still for sale. And still available to you. You are not, again, stuck in a rent trap. I know it seems like that, but you're not. You just have to be educated and, contact a realtor and say, hey, what do I got to do? What are my steps? What do I got to do to get into a home? Because there are so many home opportunities out there. There's so many resale opportunities as well as, new build opportunities. So with people like BlackRock, more power to them for building up their portfolio. But you know what? Now you've got to build up your portfolio too. And by doing that, contact a realtor. Let's get it started, because it is not impossible whatsoever. It's a lot easier than you think to buy a home, and you're not stuck in a rent trap.
Great. Well said.
Yeah.
Well, you know that Marquardt Law Firm focuses on business and estate law.
Yes, I do.
And so part of what Marquardt Law Firm does is set up last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. And so we like to talk about legacy.
Yes. Actually.
And now it's time for the Talk
my,
Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy?
Law.
Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
With the revocable trusts.
That's right. Tell us a little bit about something that happened in your life, some special thing that you inherited or that you plan to pass on?
So my grandmother was always kind of my rock. She was a little redheaded Spitfire and Southern Baptist, and she put up with me with my redheaded attitude, and she was always on my side. she was the first person to always tell me,
That's
I'm
awesome.
proud of you. And so years and years and years ago, all she wanted was a ring, Black Hills gold ring for her birthday from my grandfather, before he passed. And so he drove specifically to North Dakota
really?
to get her this ring.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. So she had this ring, never took it off for years and years and years. And a few years back, she wanted to make sure that I had it, so she gave it to me, and I've never taken it off since. And she has sadly passed away a year ago.
I'm sorry.
But she is even still to this day the person who I look to when things get hard. And I will always, even on my wedding day, I don't care what day it is, I will have this ring on, and it's something that will always mean everything to me.
I love that. Can I see it?
Yeah. It's so simple, and it's really not my style, but because it's hers, it's like the most important thing to me.
And so what about the Black Hills? Why did she have to go all the way there?
So I don't know the details of it, but with Black Hills Gold, I think it's mined in North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't hold me to that, because I don't know the details. But
your grandfather had to go there because she wanted that one.
So they used to travel and do the RV thing, and so he specifically detoured to this part of North Dakota to go and get her this ring for her birthday, and so
that's so special.
It is. So it's something that I hold near and dear. And it's always with me, and it'll be with me until I pass it on to maybe my grandchild.
Yeah. Well, tell us something else about what type of legacy you want to leave, either assets, property, or values. What's most meaningful to you when you hear that word legacy?
So legacy, it's not just about money, but also, how people think of me and how the impact that I make in their life, and so of course, legacy financially, I want to make sure that my son is set. So that's why, we work with you to come up with the trust that we have. And with that, it kind of helps secure, our financial legacy.
Right.
And I also do financial, I have a financial advisor that also takes the money that I do have and, uses it accordingly to what, the market's doing and, help me build my wealth on my own side.
Yeah.
And then I also started an account for my son. So I used to have all his, his chore money and his birthday money in a just a standard savings account. And then I'm like, he's making pennies on that. So I transferred it over to an Edward Jones account, which then has built him more wealth.
Oh, great.
And so he's now, sometimes I joke and I say, you have more money than I do. But, on the personal side, I want people to look at me as a helper, as somebody who was, there when they needed, the guidance that, somebody who they could go to for everything, not just professionally, but personally as well. So that's kind of my big thing is, I want to be that source of pride to people. And somebody who was like, no matter what she was going through, she stopped and helped whoever she could along the way.
Tell us about some of the charity work that you did.
Sure. I used to work for nonprofits here in San Antonio that worked with children. I used to work at Clarity Child Guidance Center, which is a mental health hospital for children. They have inpatient and outpatient therapies there. As well as I used to work for What Any Baby Can. I was development director over at Any Baby Can, and they help children with special needs and providing services for children with autism and, parents who just don't know where to turn with, children with those special needs. And so we were there to basically facilitate and to help those families get to where they need to be, get the help that they needed, and be a source of comfort to them knowing that they aren't alone. So working with the children, I've always, I was never a big children's person until I had children, and then I was like, now I'm like a children sucker, So I'm like,
well, how did you get the idea to work in philanthropy?
So it kind of just happened naturally. I actually worked at Southwest Research Institute for 10 years. And they're a nonprofit, but more of a government nonprofit, definitely not a children's nonprofit. And so working, in the capacity that I was working at Southwest Research, it kind of, because I worked in communications there at Southwest Research. And so when I was looking for different opportunities, it was more along the development side of it, which is kind of in the same realm as the communication side of it. So it just kind of flowed naturally into that. And so that's how I got into more of the local children's nonprofits.
Okay. And then you also worked for veterans as well.
I did, for Soldiers Angels. I worked there, and that's kind of when the COVID thing really struck hard.
And you have a special veteran in your life.
I have several special veterans. Yeah, so I come from a long veteran background, but my daddy is a veteran. He was a Marine, and once a Marine, always a Marine. Hoorah! And so he's still that grumpy old Marine, and I'm like, man, you've ate too many crayons in your life, and we give each other a hard time, but he's my heart. He's my little heartbeat, and so I am a strong supporter of the military, and I'm the strong supporter of the Constitution, and I will die on the flag to that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, absolutely.
I hope you said everything you wanted to say.
Yes, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
And I hope that everyone learned a lot about real estate.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn.
So I want to circle back to some real estate stuff.
Sure.
What other advice do you have for new home buyers or for people that are confused about what they should be doing?
So if you're confused, or if you feel stuck, or you just don't know where to start, or even those who don't think that it's possible, reach out to a realtor that you can trust. Reach out to me, and I will walk you through the process. I'll tell you, what you need, and just to get those first steps started, because a lot of people who don't think that they can, absolutely can. And where there is a will, there is a way. Back in the day, I didn't think that I would be able to buy one house, let alone two. And so, all you got to do is ask a realtor, ask a trusted lender, and get started. And really, that's the first step, is just asking and getting started. But it's a lot easier than what you think, and it's a lot more possible than you think. You can do it if you try. Absolutely. 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 It might be hard. And it can be hard. It can be frustrating. But you know what? We can always create a game plan for you, and we can get you started on that path. It may not happen right away. It may not happen next month, but we can get you there. Absolutely. Great. Thank you for joining us. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.